Hey everyone, George here. Welcome back to the channel. I am so excited about this little tank here. This is a 1.6 gallon. Yeah, you heard me right. 1.6 gallon tank. And this is a tank that I am I just don't know what to tell you. I've been working on this for about 3 days now, trying to get this scaped correctly. I think I've got a great design down, but there's a lot of roadblocks in the way to make this a functioning tank. So, 1.6 gallons, by the time you get everything in here, you're talking about less than 1 gallon of water. My question to you is, before we get started, what do we do next with this tank? How do we get this to be a functioning tank without any problems with filtration, heat, and light? Now I've covered two of those areas. I've got the heater correct in there. You can't even see that heater probably, but it's there. And I also have the lighting. I ran across a light that I had in my junk drawer that works perfectly for this, but filtration is the biggest question, and I want to answer that today. I hope you'll join me. I hope you've got some answers. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, George here. Welcome back to the channel. So as I said in my introduction, this is a 1.6 gallon Aqueon cube tank. Basically, sort of a novelty item, but at the same time, it can be a fully functioning tank. Now, let me tell you how I came across this. A friend of mine who runs a fish store had this in his store. He sells these. He sells ones that are slightly larger, all the way up to around 20 gallons, I believe, is the largest one they have. Now, all of them have these little LED lights all the way around the edge, which sort of frame out the aquarium. And that's the novelty portion of this. It is a fully functioning aquarium, other than that. But as you can see, without a light, there really isn't enough light there to grow any plants or to have it be functional in the sense that you would be able to have a viable ecosystem there. So I was able to get this absolutely for free. Somebody had taken the lid off of the one that was on display at his store and took off with it. And basically, when I was talking to him, he offered this to me to see if I was interested in just seeing what I could do with it. And I said, sure, I'll take it, not knowing what I would do with the thing really. So, in the process, over the last couple of weeks, I was staring at this thing and looking at it and said, what can I do with that thing to make it work as a functioning aquarium? So I just said, all right, I'm going to scape it just as I would any other tank, and I'm going to go from there and see if I can make this thing a fully functioning aquarium. So once I got the scaping done, of course, I started to run into some problems about how I was going to deal with this particular aquarium. First of all, light. Light was an issue because these lights here just don't do it. As I said, they're not going to grow anything, and you got to have light. So I did find this little light in my junk drawer, never thinking in a million years it would ever work. I bought that thing for like a 5-gallon tank, and it wasn't enough light. So I threw it in a drawer. In fact, I have two of them. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it on the back of this, but I'm not sure there's enough room once you put the lid on for that light to be on there. Lucky for me, most of what you see housed here is actually on the outside of the tank. There's a very small little lip about that big that goes into the inside, and it absolutely fits exactly right up to the edge of the glass on the tank. So, having said that, I solved the light problem. The next thing was heat. What do you do? What do you do with heating this tank? How do you get something small enough to heat the tank? So I got researching betta tanks and the kind of heaters that are used in those, and I found a little heater that is made specifically for betta tanks. It heats up basically to 78 degrees, and once it reaches 78 degrees, it shuts itself off. If it gets over or under 78 degrees, then it turns itself back on. The only problem you have with that is when you put a lid on, you're trapping the heat in there, you're kind of sealing it off. So you really do go from like 78 degrees up to like 80 to 81 degrees. Now, I'm not sure exactly how accurate my thermostat is, or not thermostat, but my thermometer is, as to how accurate the heating is on that as far as the reading goes, but I'm reading right around 80 to 81 degrees. Now, I know that some of my tanks run at around that anyway, so it doesn't bother me. I think there's plenty of fish that can live within those confines, and I do not believe that it's going to harm the plants so much that they're going to die. I think that they'll be fine in that environment. Most of my tanks that are running in that temperature range have the same kinds of plants inside of them. They're low light, low to medium light, I should say, and don't require a whole lot of maintenance. So the problem that I'm running into now, and it's the problem I can't seem to solve, and that is filtration. What do I do with the filter on this tank to get it to come back to where I need it to be able to fully function and have fish in here that aren't just being blown all over the place, something that is small enough to just move enough water around and filter through it, 1.6 gallons, and clean the water up. Now, I know that I'm going to have to do water changes on this daily until this is an established tank, probably 50%. And once this is established, and this takes minutes. I mean, we're talking about 1.6 gallons. After it's scaped, we're talking a gallon probably. So I know that this is going to be something that even after the tank is well established and I've done 50% water changes for a couple of weeks, I know that I'm going to have to do water changes probably every other day for as long as I own this, if I'm going to keep the water in good shape and keep algae out of here and make sure that the lights on this tank are not so overwhelming that it becomes an issue of whether or not the light is just too much for me to be able to keep the algae down. Water changes, I know, and I've written about this and talked about this in many of my videos, solve a lot of those problems because it's a matter of getting the organics and the nitrogen, or not nitrogen, but ammonia and nitrates down to the levels that you need them at. And if you can get a biosystem established in here, that if you do regular water changes every couple of days, long term, you're not going to have any problems with this. So that's the question I'm asking everyone. What do I do to get a biosystem built up in this aquarium, and what kind of filtration systems are out there that I can find that will actually function in a tank like this? Now, there's two things that have to meet the criteria in order for this to work, because I'm really picky about this kind of stuff. Number one, I think this light can be moved all the way to the end down here and then turned, which frees up a whole bunch of space in here. Can't move the heater any further over than what it is. It's taking up about that much room. So I'm looking for something that has a very small lip on it with a return on it to filter through any kind of bio matter, to move the water around, but not move it around so much that everything's just being blown around in the tank. I need something that has an adjustment on it that moves the water very slowly, but effectively moves the water through, cleans it, and filters it in a way that makes the tank healthy, but still adds that movement in the tank that is required. The third thing, what kind of fish? I've been thinking of scarlet batis, black batis, female bettas, one or two of those. I've been thinking about just making this an invertebrate tank with either shrimp or shrimp and snails, which would keep the tank very clean. Those are the kind of answers that I'm hoping that you guys are going to give me, and you're going to put them in the comments section. So here's the deal. If whoever comes up with the right idea that works, and it's got to be stellar, it's got to be foolproof, and it's got to be something that actually works. Whoever comes up with the answer to those two questions, the kind of filtration that is going to work correctly for this particular small tank, and the kind of invertebrates or stock that I can put in here that will survive in a small tank like this with some kind of filtration going through here. Those questions need to be answered. And the only way I'm going to figure this out, because I'm at a roadblock, to be honest with you, I've just been thinking of this and thinking of this, and I just can't come up with it. I need to know if there's a filtration system out there that I just don't know about that is small enough to fit on the back of this, because it's going to have to be something like that. You cannot put anything inside this thing. It's just way too small. And then a kind of fish or some invertebrates that can go in here that are going to survive and do well in a small tank like this, because I just think this can be the coolest tank. It can be just an unbelievably cool tank if the right fish are put in here and the correct kind of filtration system is put into place. So, having said that, please leave your comments down below. Give me some ideas on this so that I can kind of figure out where I go next with this. And then we'll figure it out, and I will let you know if the person that leaves me the correct answer on this thing and I actually put it into work, I will, as I said, give you a $50 Visa gift card that helps me to get this thing to the next level. I really hope I get a bunch of comments on this thing. And while you're at it, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the comment button, and use that bell up at the top there so that every time I have a new video coming out, you are aware of it, made aware of it, and you'll know when we've got some new content coming. I got a bunch of new stuff happening in the future here. Hope you'll be a part of it. Anyways, George here with The Art of Water. I'm really excited about this particular project, and I hope that you guys, someone out there is going to be able to help me. All the input, I can't wait to get some answers from you guys. All the input's going to be insanely helpful to me. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll talk to you again. See you on the next one.